Hi, so welcome to this third session of adding content. This is part of our Microsoft Word workshop. And in the previous two sessions of adding content, we've added figures and we've also added some random content under our different types of headings. So in this session, we're going to add tables. So I'm going to show you how to add tables. So the first thing about a table is you want to plan ahead of your table. So use a little piece of paper, a piece of scrap paper, and plan ahead how many columns you're going to need, how many rows you're going to need. It just really helps to set that out before, rather than trying to add columns or add rows or delete rows or merge rows while you're working with the table, specifically in Microsoft Word, because Microsoft Word can be a little bit finicky when it comes to tables. So you want to plan this ahead and make sure what your table will look like before you start to insert that into Microsoft Word. And the purpose of a table is really to summarize information or make it easier for your audience to understand what the message is that you want to convey to them. In this case, we're going to add a simple table. It's going to have 3 columns and 4 rows. And once again, I'm just going to add some random content just to illustrate what it is that we are doing. So let's go ahead and insert our table. Before we start, let's save our document again, file, save, and I'm going to insert a table. We're going to insert and select table, and I said I wanted 3 columns with 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and that is our table. Usually in your tables, your first row will be your headings, and as you can see, when we select our normal text somewhere in the body, there's no menu there. The moment that I click on my table, the table design and layout menu appears. In this case, I'm going to select my first row, and I'm just going to shade that to indicate that that is my header, and that is going to be heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and maybe we want to bold that just to show that it is different than the rest of the text. And there we have our table. The next bit of our table is we want to caption this. So remember, as with our figures, every table must have a caption, because you can't just have a random table hanging around in your document. So let's caption this table. I will click on this. So there's our table, and you'll see there's a little cross there at the top. I will click on that, selecting my table. I'll right click on that, and we'll have my option to say insert caption. So let's insert the caption. Now you'll see this is already selected as table. If the label there, if the label still says figure, you want to change that. You want to change the label to table. Make sure that your label is correct for the either the figure or the table or the equation or whatever it is that you want to label, that label is selected correctly. This goes towards your table of contents that you will add later on in your document. Position, once again, the position of the caption will be above the selected item. Numbering, as explained also in the previous session, our numbering will always start with the chapter and then the number of that table in the chapter. So let's click on numbering. For the numbering format will be 1, 2, 3. We want to include the chapter number. The chapter starts with style. Heading 1, the same that we've set up in the first part of this workshop. The separator will be once again be a period. I'm going to click on OK. We will click on OK, and our table has a label. Now you will see that Word automatically selects the caption as caption. You don't have to go and change that. Word, when you insert a label or a caption, it automatically selects the caption style for that caption. So table 1.1 will be illustrative table 1, and let's write it out like that, illustrative table 1, and we will just add some random content in there. Right, so there's our illustrative table 1 with our headings, heading 1, 2, and 3, and from the different columns, and having 1, 2, 3 rows with information that we want to summarize in this table. Now, when we create a table like this that specifically goes across different pages, you will see on this page you have to go back and forth to see the headings. So when we click on the table, we have an option to say under layout. So we click layout, that is our body text. When we select the table, we go to layout, and under layout we want to say please repeat the header rows. We click on that, and you'll see immediately when we go to the next page. Sometimes a table can run across 2 or 3 different pages, so you really want to repeat the header rows, specifically if this goes across 3 pages. You don't want to scroll back all the time to remember what the headers was for a specific column or a specific cell within your table. So we've got a repeat of the headers. Now, something else that you may have seen is this row number 2. My text in the second column in row number 2 is going across the 2 pages. Now, this will be difficult to read, specifically if you've printed this out and the examiner has to mark this. So what I said is we want to make it as easy as possible for your examiner to actually mark your research report. So in this case, what we're going to do is I'm going to right click on this row, right click, I'm going to select table properties, and I will go to that row, and obviously table, row, column, cell, but I want that specific row, and I want to say allow row to break across pages. I don't want that to happen. That allows the row with multiple lines to break across pages. We don't want to allow that. So I'm going to unselect that and click on OK, and then you will see this row will start as its own row on a new page. It just makes it a little bit easier to read or understand your column or your table, specifically when it goes across various pages. Right, so that is it for inserting a table into your document. Obviously, when you insert a new table in chapter 2, let's maybe just insert a table there. You'll see that once again, did I remember to insert my source for my previous table? No, so I forgot to insert a source. Remember, as with your illustrations, you always want to include the source. This may have been extrapolated. From Saunders et al. 2016. And the pages, all pages are very important. Pages 215 to maybe 225. Now, because the table will most likely contain information that you've obtained from some source, it will be very rarely that you say the source is the author's own compilation. This will most likely be either be extrapolated or adapted from, or there will be some source for the information that is in your table. And then let's go back to chapter 2, and we'll add our random table in there. I'm going to say table, let's just add the same type of table, 3 columns, 4 rows, and I'm not going to go into this. Well, let's just add that. Remember, once again, select that first row, and under table design, I'm going to shade that to show that is my headings. It's going to be heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3, and then bold that, and we're going to insert caption. Insert caption. It will be table, the first table in the second chapter, chapter 2, first table. The label is a table. Position is above the selected item. The numbering is correct. We'll say OK. And then we're going to say illustrative table 2. And then I'm not going to add a lot of content there. Let's maybe just say, no, we're not going to add any content. And my source in this case will be, let's maybe say one adapted from Maria et al. 2018 pages, because your information would have come from somewhere. Pages 112 to 120. And there we go. That is adding tables with Microsoft Word, or in Microsoft Word, and we've added a table in chapter 1 and a table in chapter 2. Thank you very much.